Hi, Ghosties. I'm Macy.
And I'm Natalie.
And there's nothing like a good local legend to give you the chills. We've all heard them. Growing up, while at sleepovers or hanging out at night with our friends, everyone will sit around listening to the stories of the crazed killer who lived in the haunted house, or the bridge known for its ghost sightings, or the section of the train tracks that replays the tragedy to passersby. In Listener Stories 32, Nicole wrote to us about her own local legend, Third Bridge, and we asked you guys to send in your local legends and hometown haunts. I thought today would be a good day to talk about it.
This is an exciting topic. I am interested to see what people said. If there's actually some real lore behind it, or if it's just like old Timmy at the stop and go said that an old man haunts here, you know?
That's kind of what we had.
Oh.
In our town.
Oh, yeah.
No, like not this. Look, there are these, but did you ever hear any legends from our hometown?
It wasn't about a ghost, but there was
about
a man
who was like a crazed man. No, I don't even know who he was. I don't know that anyone who told me who he was knew who he was.
Probably just a nice random guy.
Yeah.
That we all were like,
that hung out at the gas station.
It was our pigeon lady from Home Alone.
Yes.
He was a nice guy.
I almost hit him with my car once.
And I peed myself.
You
literally.
were there. You were there.
And I was there. And you were there. Yeah. We were coming home from the movies with you, me, Kayla, and y'all's two friends. And you turned that corner and it scared me so bad. I literally peed in your car.
We all screamed.
Yep. I was like,
times.
What? 8th grade?
Yeah.
Too old to be peeing my pants.
No, but the situation warranted
Horrifying.
it. We also had a tunnel.
Yes.
I don't remember the exact stories, but there were stories about the tunnel.
I think they were just creepy.
Yes, but that's fine.
It was fun.
I love a local legend. I love a hometown haunt, even if it's not true, even if it's just something that like your best friend's older cousin made up long ago when he was in high school.
The best. And it carries on. Love it.
I love it. I love a good legend.
It's fun.
Yes. So that's what we're doing today. Some of these, there's some evidence.
Oh.
But some maybe just, legend.
I'm excited to see it. But also, before we get started, this is coming out after the fact, but Happy Khmer New Year. Someone left that in the comments and I was like, oh my gosh, it is like Cambodian New Year. So if you celebrated last week, Happy New Year.
All right. Happy New Year to everyone.
Anyway.
On all of the New Years.
Yes.
Our tea today is Trader Joe's Harvest Blend Herbal Tea. Something sent by one of you. I think like all of our Monday teas are sent by y'all. So
yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you so much. Let's go.
That is so good.
That tea is the essence of the podcast.
I agree. That was good.
It just teleported me back, like Black Mirror style.
To like episode 1?
Yes, to when we first started and just like the fall vibes and everything. That's really good. Thank you. I can't remember who sent it, but
I can't remember.
If you're watching, thank you so much.
I'm going to have to start going to Trader Joe's for some tea.
That was so good.
Before we get started with these stories, we just wanted to give a little warning. Some of these legends have children's death. So if that's not something you want to watch today, skip.
Yeah, there's
see you
several.
next time.
But let's go.
So we will start with Laura. Hi, Ghosties. Hope you're doing great. I wanted to share some spooky Puerto Rican legends that I think would be awesome for your content. Here's a list from my town, Las Marias, and those a bit farther. The first one, Duendes de la Montaña, which we talked about. So I used this in our Duendes episode, just this little snippet, but I'll go ahead and read it again. Up in the misty mountains of Las Marias, Lares, and San Sebastian, people say tiny duendes sneak out at night to ride the horses and bring their manes. By sunrise, the poor horses are left dripping in sweat and exhausted. Some say these duendes are just mischievous tricksters, but others warn they can be dangerous. Either way, folks living near the mountains know never to leave their animals out at night.
I remember that one. That's a cute one.
Yes.
I mean, not cute, but they braid their manes.
Yes. And then ride them until they're exhausted.
Yeah. Pretty sad.
Number 2, the Ghost Bride of Las Marias and San Sebastian, which I Googled this one because this could be an episode, possibly, but it was very interesting. So we might just do a whole episode on Puerto Rico.
Oh, I would love to.
There are a lot of good ones from Puerto Rico.
I would love to.
If you've ever driven the winding road between Las Marias and San Sebastian, you'll notice small cement pillars lining the way. But here's the creepy part. If you count them out loud while driving at night, a ghostly bride is said to appear inside your car and ride with you until you reach the bridge that divides the towns. The story says she was left at the altar and now roams the night searching for a way back to her chapel. Some drivers say they felt a chill in the air or seen her reflection before reaching the bridge.
Oh, that just
shook you to your core.
Seeing like her reflection in like your mirror.
Yeah.
Off the side of the road. Crashing.
Oh, yeah, that's really creepy.
My gosh.
But that is the exact kind of thing that I was expecting when asking for these stories. Just like the ghost bride of
The thing that
this
stays
town.
in that area. Yeah.
Number 3, Casa del Mustang, the Mustang House. On the road from Mayaguez to Las Marias, there's an abandoned house everyone knows as La Casa del Mustang. Legend has it the family who built it made a dark pact during Holy Week, but had to flee when paranormal things started happening. Still parked in the garage is the old red Ford Mustang that nobody has ever been able to move. People who pass by say they've seen strange lights, shadowy figures, and heard noises coming from inside, even though the house has been empty for years.
I was just listening to a true crime podcast where they said something about a red Mustang. This is weird.
That is weird.
It's really weird.
Coincidence?
No.
Do you need a new car?
Stop.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so they go on Puerto Rico all over. Number 4, Garita del Diablo, Devil's Sentry Box. All the way in San Juan's Fort San Cristobal, there's a small lookout post called La Garita del Diablo. According to legend, soldiers used to disappear from this very spot. Some say taken by the devil himself. Even today, people visiting the fort say they feel like someone is watching them, and whispers seem to come from nowhere. It's definitely one of the most haunted places on the island and a must-see for ghost hunters.
I would love to see it. I would love to go.
I'm telling you, this is just like a little snippet before we do Puerto Rico because I'm hooked and I'm very interested. The last one, number 5, El Pozo de Jacinto, Jacinto's Leap. In Isabela. In Isabela, there's a large rocky cliff by the beach called El Pozo de Jacinto. The story says that Jacinto, Jibaro, country boy, was chasing his beloved cow when she ran off the cliff. Desperate, Jacinto jumped after her, and both disappeared.
Oh.
Now, legend says that if you stand near the cliff and call out, Jacinto, treme la vaca, you'll hear a splash of water come up the hole as if Jacinto is trying to pull you down with him.
Oh my God.
That's scary.
That just sent like a hot feeling down my body. It wasn't a chill. It was like heat. That just
Warm.
scared me.
There are also reports of aliens being seen in Lajas and a few others, but I can't think of any other right now. I'm currently trying to collect family stories so I can send them together, and some from my EMT dad. For me, I also sent stories from my childhood. Hope you enjoy these. For now, best, Laura.
That felt like a list of things that we have to do a deep dive
episodes on?
Yes, it was just like, hey, there's this one, baseline. Good luck.
Yes.
I need more.
Our next story comes from Megan. Hi, Ghosties team. I absolutely love your podcast, and when I heard you were looking for hometown legends, I knew I had to share mine. I'm from Templemore, County Tipperary, Ireland, and growing up, I was always surrounded by stories of ghosts, fairies, and legends. But one of the most frequent and chilling legends I heard as a child was about the Banshee.
Also, Ireland. I need to go. Ever since P.S. I Love You, I have to go.
Long before P.S. I
Well,
Love You.
yes, but that's when I remember being like awoken to needing to go.
Maybe it's your ancestors calling to you.
Are we Irish?
Yeah, some of our family's from Ireland.
I do really
Resonate?
love potatoes.
Okay.
A lot.
Anyway.
Any form.
The Banshee is often described as the queen of the fairies, a spirit that wails to warn of an impending death. Many believe she appears by rivers or sits combing her hair while crying, and it's said that if you ever find a comb on the street, you should never pick it up, because the Banshee will come looking for it.
Ew.
I have a few family stories connected to the Banshee that have always stuck with me. My dad's experience. When my dad and his brother were younger, they were sleeping in their room when my uncle suddenly woke up, hearing a woman crying outside. He kept asking my dad, "Do you hear that? Do you hear that?" But my dad couldn't hear anything. An hour later, their grandfather came into the room and told them their grandmother had just passed away. So he heard the Banshee.
That's crazy. That's really sad.
It is sad. My great-grandmother's story. My father's grandmother once saw the Banshee sitting on a bench, combing her hair and crying. This imagery is often associated with her, as she is said to weep for the loss of a family member before they pass. My mother's encounter in Wales. My mother used to spend a lot of time in Wales and was once staying at a friend's house near a river. One night, she and her friends heard the most chilling, wailing cry outside. A sound so haunting, they were absolutely terrified. When they told their friend's father, he calmly said, "Don't be scared, girls. It's just the Banshee crying." Hearing these stories growing up made the legend of the Banshee feel very real to me. Whether she's a warning spirit or something else entirely, there's no denying the eerie experiences people have had with her. I hope you find this story interesting, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Keep up the amazing work. I love tuning in to every episode. Best, Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I did not know the Banshee was like a La Llorona type of thing. Like there was like a
By
one.
the river?
Yeah, I didn't know it was that. I thought Banshees were like it was just a type of thing and there was a bunch of them.
Basically, some believe that they follow a family. Like there's a Banshee for a family and they'll follow the family around and like warn or alert of the death or an impending death.
Oh, okay.
And then I guess some say that she sits by the river crying, weeping for the loss of family members.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that.
There's a lot of lore behind the Banshee. Our next story comes from Jay. Hi, Ghosties. I'm Jay. I just found your podcast a few days ago and I've been binging it since. You've mentioned a couple times about wanting to hear some hometown spooky stories, so I figured I'd share one of my towns. Just outside of Colorado Springs, Colorado, up in the mountains, there's this old tunnel going through one of the smaller mountains in our portion of the Rocky Mountain Range. It's called the Gold Camp Road Tunnel, and it has a reputation for being haunted. I'm pretty sure it was built originally for miners. I'm not quite sure anymore as it's been a while since I've heard the story. But the story goes that it collapsed and several miners died in the collapse. That was the beginning of the hauntings. They cleared it up eventually and started using it as a road again. Sometime in the mid-90s, I think, a school bus full of kids went up there. The reason I was given as to why they were up there was for a school field trip, which personally doesn't add up in my mind since the roads to get there are very narrow with a lot of sharp turns and switchbacks. But anyways, enough about my theories. Back to the story. While they were driving through it, the tunnel collapsed again, killing over 20 kids, several teachers, and the bus driver.
Oh my God.
Since then, the tunnel's been blocked off by this really ominous looking iron fence, and the whole area around it has this very sad, unsettling feeling to it. There's also reports that if you drive there at night, the next morning you'll find children's handprints on your car, but I haven't driven out there at night yet to see if that's true or not. Anyways, thanks for reading, and I hope you'll put this in a future episode of your podcast, Jay.
That is horribly sad.
Yeah.
That was Colorado?
Yeah. Again, this is legend, so
I
it may or may
believe
not
a
be
lot
true.
of hometown legends.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, at least there's like a portion of truth in it.
Or at least there are eerie feelings there, and there was a story put to make sense of it
Yeah.
for people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So who knows? But
Tragic.
that is tragic and spooky.
Yeah, very much.
So our next two stories come from two people seemingly in the same or at least very close to each other towns talking about the same things. We got two emails talking about the exact same thing, and I put both of them in here.
That is crazy. I wonder if they know each other.
I know. That's interesting. Let's
Comment.
see.
Do y'all
Let's see
know
the
each other?
comments.
That's so crazy. And it would be so weird if like they didn't know, or they knew each other, but they didn't know each other like that.
First one is from Leah. Hi, Ghosties. I'm Leah, and you don't need to keep me anonymous, as I no longer live in the place I'm going to be talking about. I just finished watching Listener Stories number 32, where you asked for hometown legends, and I was so excited because I wanted to write in for a while, but none of my paranormal experiences are long enough to even write a paragraph about. Sorry for the rambling. Let me start the story. So I'm from Northeast Tennessee in the Appalachian Mountains, and I live in a smallish area called the Tri-Cities on the border between Tennessee and Virginia. So technically, my hometown is one of the other two cities in the Tri-Cities, but this legend comes from Kingsport, where my grandparents lived, and I spent a ton of time growing up. I hope that explanation made sense. It did. This is the legend of the Sensabaugh Tunnel.
Oh, another tunnel.
I actually researched it before writing this email, and there are 3 versions of the legend, but for the sake of time, I'm going to share the one that made the rounds at my high school. Trigger warning, child death within the legend. The story goes that Edward Sensabaugh lived in his home adjacent to the tunnel with his wife and 2 very young daughters. One evening, a homeless man came to his door and asked him for a glass of water and a place to rest out the current storm. Sensabaugh, wanting to do the right thing, followed him in. Later that evening, Sensabaugh caught the guest attempting to steal his wife's jewelry and made an effort to chase him out of the house with a firearm. As he did, the thief took the infant daughter of the Sensabaughs and used her as leverage to make an escape. But as he ran towards the tunnel, Sensabaugh shot at him, and in anger, the man dropped the baby into the quick-moving water that was flooding the tunnel. Now, teenagers will go to the tunnel in the middle of the night and claim to either hear a baby crying or a woman, possibly Mrs. Sensabaugh, wailing. They also say that if you shut off your car in the tunnel, the battery will immediately die. There is no record of these events actually happening, thankfully, and it is most likely an old urban legend. I personally have gone and experienced nothing, but I have friends who will not drive through it in broad daylight.
Of all of the things we've ever read, I hope this one is just like not true.
Yeah, agreed. That's the whole story. Sorry if it's formatted oddly. I wrote this on my phone during my lunch break, so it has not been proofread, but I wish you all the best. You guys are my favorite pod by far. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I just hope that that one is just totally made up.
I know usually I'm like, you know what? I really hope this is true. Well, most times.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of them on the list. I'm like, no, I choose not to believe it.
Yeah.
But I do believe the tunnel may be haunted.
So
for other
there's
reasons.
something.
This next one is from Anonymous. Hi Ghosties, I've been watching for almost a year now and congrats on the 100th episode. I just watched it and thought it was time to send in some myths from near my hometown. I am from Northeast Tennessee / Southwest Virginia, literally on the state line, so I'm sorry if this email is a little informal. Also, please do not mind the grammar, spelling, horrible writing. I have a hard time writing differently than I talk, and I talk pretty Southern.
Nice. But also, this is literally the same town.
Yeah,
Is
y'all are
nuts.
from the same place for sure.
Also, speaking of Southern, it's so weird because I was just telling you, I'm watching Reba so much that I'm starting to be
More Southern.
a true Southern girl in the way that I talk.
I mean, I can hear it sometimes in some of the things we say,
but not that bad, in my opinion.
Compared to a lot of people we know, we are the least Southern people.
Yes. But sometimes
there's a word or two that just kind of slips right in
hey,
there.
I really lacked that. And I'm like,
the other day I was I was saying our childhood. I kept saying our childhood. I just literally could not. I said it like 3 different times. I couldn't. I was just like, whatever. This is just.
I think one day when if I make it to be really old, I'm just going to give up and fully go into just be.
Our grandparents did that.
It's so weird and so random. I love it.
Me too.
It's cute.
Especially if we ever moved away, I think I would lean more into it.
Oh, if we ever lived anywhere but Texas, I'd be like, howdy y'all. 100% and just play into it.
Anyway, comment down below if you can hear our Southern accents.
People are going to be like, absolutely, yes, 100%. And we're going to feel stupid.
At my old job, I was probably one of 4 people who didn't have a really thick Southern accent. And a mom and son came in and they were visiting the college. They were from New Jersey or something. Yeah. And I was like, hey guys, trying, do my thing. I don't remember how we got onto it, but basically they were talking about Southern accents and hearing it down here. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, could you hear it in mine? They're like, oh, yes. And I was just like,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah. If you go up north and you hear the way they talk, you start to go, oh,
I'm different.
Yeah. Anyway, move on.
Sorry.
We're talking too much.
We are.
And now that we're talking, I'm like, I feel like I'm really.
You just remind me of SpongeBob where he's like,
that's how I feel right now. I'm not going to be able to talk right for the rest of the episode.
This is a story about a local tunnel considered to be haunted by Edward Sensabaugh, who owned the land when it was built in the 1920s. There are several legends about the tunnel, but nobody knows what happened. First, I will describe the tunnel and the land's layout. I also attached a picture at the bottom. So we have a photo. A very typical tunnel.
I would 100% assume that was
haunted.
Crazy haunted. Yeah, yes. That's scary.
The tunnel is located in the middle of nowhere. It's a maze to get to. Sometimes any navigation device can't pick up the location. The tunnel is made of cement/concrete with wood surrounding it, even growing on top. A creek runs through the tunnel and floods out every time it rains. Both sides of the tunnel have occupied houses, and the road is typically pretty busy. The house that Mr. Edward Sensabaugh lived in is also still standing and settled. Though there are several legends about how the tunnel became haunted, the same experiences remain during all stories. To have the best experience going to this tunnel, drive a car to the center, turn the car off, take the keys out, and sit quietly.
No.
While sitting quietly, it's rumored to hear a baby crying, and even baby/infant handprints appear on your car in various places. Some people even sprinkle baby powder/flour on their vehicles to try and capture those prints.
I'm just going to believe there's a large family of raccoons that live out there.
Agreed. Once you try to leave though, typically the car you brought to the tunnel will not start back. It will say that the battery is dead, and people often have to push their vehicles to the other side where it begins, just like usual. Some have even seen a child sitting in front of their car, curled into a ball, rocking back and forth, crying and wailing to lure you into their grasp.
Oh my God.
Others report seeing strange light phenomena appear/disappear in the tunnel while hearing footsteps approaching, looking like a person is holding a flashlight, but it soon dissipates into thin air. Others have even claimed to be driving through the tunnel and a woman's shadow appears in the back seat.
I don't like that. That's the second time we've done it this episode.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
There are also rumors that there is gang violence, rituals, and deaths that still go on today. Nobody will know the story behind the tunnel's creepiness, but it is fun to venture into. So we already talked about one of the legends and they went into it, so I took it out. We'll just go to the other ones. The second legend says that Edward Sensabaugh went crazy and killed his entire family and threw their bodies into the tunnel. Because we have very little evidence of this, it is one of the most brutal legends to believe. That and the first one.
Yeah.
Lastly, the most accurate and believed legend is that Edward Sensabaugh lived into his old age, not dying until the 1950s, and had none of his children die as babies. By the time Edward grew old, teens and vandals started using the tunnel to have fun. Edward didn't like this. He would hide at the end of the tunnel and fill it with an eerie shriek as people were wasting time in the tunnel, scaring them out, thus beginning the legend of Sensabaugh Tunnel.
That is sick.
I love that.
Oh my God.
I love the idea of a little old man getting sick and tired of people loitering around his house, and he just goes out there and he's scaring the pants off of some teens.
I'm envisioning the Monster House guy.
Oh,
At the beginning, when
Yes.
he's really scary.
Not at the end where he like
He's beautiful
a
and nice.
person.
That movie used to scare me. I watched it this last Halloween time.
So it's a girl house. Sorry.
Even now, watching it, I'm like, this is scary.
It is a little spooky.
It's kind of like really scary to watch, especially if you're alone. But that's what I'm envisioning, him like chasing them out. I'm spooked.
Even though these are just legends and there are no true accounts that the tunnel is haunted by anything or anyone in particular, the legends have lived on and passed through many generations. I do believe the tunnel is haunted, but not by ghosts or ghouls, but rather it's haunted by the power of human attachment to scary stories to explain the unexplainable.
Ooh.
Human nature doesn't like voids and will do anything to fill them, even if what is brought to fill in the gaps is more outrageous than any reality or history combined. Is it not a form of insanity if we allow such things to hold us prisoner to our own illusions? Maybe in the end, Sensabaugh Tunnel isn't haunted. Rather, maybe those who adventure to it are the ones who are haunted. Maybe the fear that there is something in the dark is what controls us. It won't allow us to walk through the tunnel without feelings of fear and dread controlling us, keeping us asking ourselves, what if? Sorry for the long email, and I hope it makes sense. I know this isn't a ghost story. I have some of those I'm collecting from my dad's time in the Air Force stationed in Germany and England. Prepare yourself for those. They caused me to have nightmares for years. Keep making videos. I love listening to them while I clean, get ready for work, walk, couch rot, etc. Really, I like watching them all the time. Stay spooky, ghosties.
I love the way you write, first of all.
And I love that theory. I love the
I
idea
do
that our
too.
fear is actually what's haunting us and not ghosties.
That makes me feel a weird sense of security and like safety.
What is that quote?
There's nothing to fear but fear itself.
Yes.
Or something like that. I probably misquoted it, but I really liked the way that last little bit was written. So props to you, Anonymous.
Yes, I like that. Thank you.
A lot of the people that write into us, I'm like, are y'all authors? Did y'all
Yes.
write a book? Send me the link. Like,
At the very least, yes.
there's been a couple people where I'm like, you should write.
Like, I would read your work.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Everyone that watches us is so talented, and we're really not that cool, and it feels preposterous that these
Maybe it's
cool
our-
people are watching us. I'm like, why?
Yeah, like we should be watching you.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have work out there that you like, books or short stories
Movies,
or
films.
little films or anything that you created, send it to us and we will gladly watch and read. And
And if it's good, I'll recommend it here. I don't know.
but we do. We'd like to hear some of y'all's work if you ever get around to it. Anyway, just like we like seeing all of your crochet creations.
Merv. All my little ghosts over here. And
Yeah,
my pumpkin.
I've got 'em. I'm changing out my decorations.
You didn't tell people
Oh,
what
yeah.
that is. It's us.
It's us.
We found it in New Orleans and had to buy it.
I'm the mommy mushroom and Natalie's the little baby.
It is us.
I feel like this is how you pictured us when you were little.
That's how I picture us now.
Okay. That
do you
works for
mean?
me. Our next one comes from Anonymous.
Ah!
Number 2.
So many anonymous people.
Anonymous number 2. Hello. The name of this town is called Shafter Lake. It is approximately 12 miles away from the town I live in. Shafter Lake is an abandoned ghost town. Confederate Army officer William R. Shafter founded Shafter Lake. He used to patrol the area during and after the Civil War and often had scuffles with local Comanche. It is fenced off, only being used by the oil field. It contains a huge dry salt lake, a cemetery which no longer has any gravestones, an old amphitheater in the ground that is known to be breeding ground for rattlesnakes, so no one goes there. Everyone who lives in the town nearby knows the legend. On a full moon, you can hear Shafter and his troops ride across the lake on their horses. This part of the legend is a little sad. When smallpox hit the town around 1910, a lot of children died. Some people say that you can see children out there with no eyes at night, and that they want to do the same to you. Gouge your eyes out.
Oh my God.
There is also said to be a lady in white that roams there, especially after it rains. It is not open to the public anymore. Anyone caught there will be arrested for trespassing. I personally have driven past it many times, but I will never go with the intention to see Shafter, the woman in white, or the eyeless children. Eesh. Love y'all's podcast and very proud. I hope you enjoyed the story. Here are some pictures
Pictures of what?
of Shafter Lake.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
At night, I'm sure that's spooky. And they sent us an image of the like historic marker.
Oh, we could put that in. That's really cool.
And one more. I guess this is the old town.
Oh, that's cool. I like pictures like that.
So thank you, Anonymous number 2. That was very interesting. And I love the pictures. I love when y'all send pictures.
Me too.
Even if it's not anything we can post or like if it's just, was it Haley that sent their senior pictures? I love that. I'd like to see y'all. Or pictures of their pets.
That's my favorite.
Our next one comes from Destiny. Hi guys, my name is Destiny. I just started listening to the pod and absolutely love you both. The hometown legend I want to share with you guys is the story of Walhalla Road in Columbus, Ohio. It is said to be one of the most haunted streets in Ohio. I grew up hearing this story and driving down the road at night to get scared. As a teen, my dad would ride his bike down the road with his friends at night, wanting to see the phantom of the man who killed his wife in the mansion nearby. Enjoy the spooky story of this local legend. It's another haunted road. She sent us a link to an article detailing the legend of Walhalla Road, and within the site, it was deemed Ohio's most haunted street.
Oh.
It is best to stay away after dark, quote, or you may be sorry. Apparently, some people refer to it as the gates of hell.
Jeez.
For reasons unknown. I guess because of the hauntings.
Okay, Ohio.
Sent us a link, and so I'm just gonna give a brief.
Where's Moonville?
Ohio.
What's going on in Ohio? Because wasn't
Ohio?
Sorry. Wasn't Moonville area like the gates of hell?
Yeah, maybe this is nearby.
Ohio, explain yourself.
Sure. Just the entire state of Ohio.
Yeah, I need to hear from you.
You know what? Same. So I just did a brief little summary from the article she sent. So, a brief history. It has served as a hideout for fugitive enslaved people in the 1800s. It's said that the Clinton Chapel at Weber and High Street was a station along the Underground Railroad. This part of its history may explain some portions of its haunting aura. But there is one legend that really gives it its reputation. Trigger warning for murder-suicide.
Jesus.
A lot of darkness in this episode. There is a 1913 mansion called Mooney Mansion sitting high on the ridge along Walhalla Road. A man is said to have murdered his wife and daughter in this mansion in the 50s and proceeded to hang himself from the nearby bridge once he realized what he had done. Since that time, blue lights can be seen at night where the mansion once stood along the infamous road. And if you are brave enough to walk under the Calumet Street Bridge after dark, you can see the reflections of his wife and daughter in the water.
Okay.
Spooky.
Dark.
Very dark.
My goodness.
But I feel like that is just the essence of a hometown legend. Like a hometown haunt. Like the things that you talk about with your friends.
It's a person did something horrible in your town.
And now
it's infamous.
The remnants of that atrocity still remain.
That is true. That is very true.
I feel like that is a key aspect too. I don't know. I feel like we could do a whole dissertation on local folklore.
Yeah. I want to be into these stories. I'm like, ooh, spooky road. And then you say something awful. And I'm like, oh God.
I really don't want this to be true.
No.
But thank you, Destiny. That was very interesting. We love a spooky road.
I do.
Our next one comes from Sara. Just to set the scene, this is a pub feet away from the only road into town, but kind of in the middle of nowhere. Halfway between the small town of Sook and the bigger town of Langford. So it feels pretty secluded at night, and across the street is pretty much just a cliff into the ocean.
Oh.
Here's my stories. So the whole town has so many legends, and kind of the whole island. Would be pretty cool if you guys want to do a whole video on Vancouver Island's ghost stories. And I added it to the list. It's a beautiful place with tons of old growth, forest, and native land. For this email though, I will just be focusing on the things I've seen surrounding the 17 Mile Pub, built in 1894, and the stories I've heard growing up. I'll try to tell this chronologically just to keep my thoughts organized. Around age 6 or 7, we were driving down the Sook Road, which the 17 Mile house was located on. There's lots of tall trees surrounding the area, so when it's sunny, shadows dance across the road. I was looking out the window at the trees and trying to peek down the cliffside to the right to see the ocean, and the sun peeked out from the trees, so I quickly turned my head to the left, and after a moment or two, we were passing the pub, and I swear I saw a ghostly pale woman just standing in the middle of the road. I felt like I was staring at her, and she was staring at me for minutes, but it must have been a matter of seconds, and she was gone. She was all I could think about the whole rest of the drive. She had long brown hair, a small hat, and a long lace dress. I didn't see her on the way back through, but it really stuck with me. I ended up seeing her multiple times, mostly when it was raining. A year or two later, I heard a story about the legend of a woman whose husband went missing the night before their wedding. He should have arrived a few days earlier, but never did. For a time, the pub had the only telephone for miles, so she went there to call his family to see if he had left on time or if they had seen him, but nobody had. She was heartbroken, and the only thing she could imagine was that he had changed his mind and chosen not to come. Supposedly, she stayed in the hotel and waited for his arrival, but he never showed. She didn't come out of her room for days. She was then found dead in her room from presumed suicide. But sadly, he did show up. There was some sort of delay, so he arrived about a week later. Finding out she had passed and feeling as though it was his fault, he walked across the street to the cliffside and jumped into the rocky ocean below. He was never seen alive again.
Oh.
Kind of reminds me of a couple of stories that we heard. Like
we've heard
the Galvez
several.
Hotel. There was that one, and then there was another
That
one.
one was sad.
Oh, was it in St. Augustine, maybe?
Maybe. We've heard
In the
several
hotel where her newlywed husband like went out to sea and then a storm came through.
Yes, we've heard a lot of stories like that, and I hate
Very
them.
sad.
They make me feel paranoid.
I haven't been able to find any proof of any of this, but I have heard it from multiple people. The pub always made me feel a little eerie from then on. A few years after that, we were taking a cab and the tire blew. So he had to pull off into the parking lot there. And small town stuff, so they let me, my siblings, and my mom wait inside the pub while we waited for another cab to come. I went to the bathroom. It was old and creepy. The whole building had this kind of old musty smell and every floorboard creaked. Being a child, I was already on edge, and the second I closed the bathroom door, I got a swell of panic, like a pit in my stomach, and I don't know why, but my fingers were going numb. So I tried to go as quickly as I could. As I was washing my hands in the sink, I felt the sudden urge to look up at the mirror.
No.
Like I felt like I needed to look as much as I needed to breathe. As I was turning off the water, I finally looked up. For a split second, I saw a hand reaching out from the side of the mirror. When I focused on it, it was gone.
No.
I felt like I screamed, but I don't think anything came out. It was gray and bony and almost had claws. It barely looked human. So freaking creepy, OMG.
Sorry, it was just me. I haven't tanned in a while. My nails are outgrown.
You're so ridiculous. I ran out and convinced my mom we should wait outside. My friend ended up working there for a bit, and sometimes when she was closing and they're alone, chairs would be pulled out from tables. This happened multiple times after she pushed them all in. Shadows would dance across the wall whenever cars drove by, and sometimes the outlines would look like people for a second. Not sure if she ever witnessed anything else. The Sook Road is a very deadly road, so I'm not surprised there are so many mysterious things going on around there. I have lots more stories of spooky things I've witnessed growing up if you guys are interested. This email is already too long. I look forward to every Monday and Thursday for the pod and hope you guys keep it going for a long time to come. Best wishes, Sarah.
Thank you.
So Sarah sent us a couple of links that had more stories about the 17-mile pub, a couple of like newspaper clippings in these links. So I wanted to expand on it here and tell a few stories from people who own and work in the building.
Where was this again?
In Vancouver Island. 17-mile pub.
I would like to go. Maybe, before I hear these stories.
Several employees have claimed to see an old woman that they believe was the owner since 1940 named Edith Mary Ma Wilson. Today, there is an office upstairs that's mostly kept locked, but every once in a while, the TV in that locked room will turn on, volume full blast, and has one specific chair in that room that moves on its own. Many employees will push the chair in and come back around to find the chair is back where it was before. Eventually, they just leave the chair where it is, as this chair is the same place where Ma Wilson supposedly died in 1970.
Oh, in the pub?
Supposedly. I think she might have lived there.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's like an upstairs.
If we ever had a business, let me die there. I want to haunt a business.
So you're like, I'm dying, and I just carry
Carry
you
me.
into our...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I want you to leave a taped
Like a
outline
chalk
of where
outline?
I died. Yeah.
Okay. That's
And everyone can take like a little photo there.
It's like, selfie.
And I'll show up. I'll appear.
That would be cool.
We're just planning my death. That's fine.
One employee, Sue Ferry, reported to a 1999 edition of the Sook News Mirror that she was closing up the pub at about 1 a.m. when she was carrying beer up from the basement, restocking the fridge for the next day. As she reached the top of the stairs, she saw an elderly woman standing in front of the fireplaces, frowning, wearing a long, dark dress, and looking right at her. Sue knew she was all alone in that building, with the doors locked. She nearly dropped the beer. Quote, I think she was aware of me, but she could have been looking right through me at something else. She had a frown and seemed like she was wondering what was going on. Then she vanished.
Oh, I don't like that.
In 1981, Nani Wilson, one of the owners at the time, was getting quotes on having the outside of the building painted. At the same time, quote, a couple of older caretakers were upstairs, staying for the night with their 4-year-old grandson. I didn't speak to them about this place being haunted. Then, the little guy, who was asleep with the caretakers, sits up in the middle of the night and says, the lady downstairs says don't paint the building, and went back to sleep. Nani changed her mind about painting after this. She ended up just having the building pressure washed instead.
100% the right choice.
Agreed.
So scary. It's like, what can we do? Possess the boy.
Oh, no.
That's so scary.
How do we make sure they don't paint the outside?
Possess the boy. I don't like that at all.
Ma doesn't seem to like change within the building. When the owners brought in a new computer system for ordering, machinery began breaking down. Quote, one day it was the dishwasher, the next day the compressor, then the cooler, then the septic pumps. Every day this would happen, and the computers themselves would crash for every 4 hours. One of the computer experts said he had never heard of this except for one other time with a grocery store that had a ghost in it. I said, well, guess what? More recently, the owners installed a new dishwasher, locked up the building for the night, and went home. Upon returning the next morning, found the dishwasher wide open, dozens of glasses smashed inside, and strangest of all, their reservation book was inside the dishwasher shredded.
What?
No one had been in the building from the time that they locked the doors and returned the next morning. Quote, I just try not to be alone in the building late at night. Or if I am and something happens, I lock up and get out of there.
Smart.
But that is the 17-mile pub, and those are your hometown haunts.
Those were fun. I mean, those were horrifying and dark and sad, but we had fun.
A little fun, yeah. No, I agree.
guess.
I wanted to kind of change it up a little. Like, I like this idea of like a hometown haunts, but I wanted to still kind of put my own research into some of them. So it's kind of like a hybrid episode. I don't know.
I liked it. Hope y'all did.
Hope you did too, because I enjoyed it a lot. So if you have a hometown legend, some kind of lore that is local to you that, you know, everyone, there's no actual record. Maybe there is.
Even if there is.
Maybe there is. But no one knows the true story behind this.
Mhm.
But everyone knows that like this building or this tunnel or this bridge, send it in and just put in the
subject line.
Yeah, just put in the subject line, hometown legends.
That would be a fun another episode.
could
And I
do a
feel
part
like
two.
this will open up the gates for some good ones.
I hope so, because these truly are some of my favorite stories. I love local legends.
Me too.
Thank you so much for being here today. Like this video if you liked it, share it with your friends if you feel compelled to do so, and subscribe for more. Also, if you're listening on audio, please give us 5 stars. That'll help us in the algorithm. If you have a story that you'd like to send in, we just told you to send in your stories, please. You can email them to us at ghostespod@gmail.com. It's also written in the description down below, and I have it written in various other places when you look for us.
You can find it everywhere.
Speaking of another place that you can find it, it's on our Instagram. So if you'd like to follow us on Instagram, it's at Ghosteaspod. Sometimes we post there, occasionally.
We're going to do better.
We are hoping to do better.
Soon. No promises, but soon. No promises. Hold me accountable. But yeah, if you're still here, leave the Cambodian flag in the comments for Khmer New Year.
All right, yeah, leave a flag, please. And we will see you on Thursday.
Yes, we will. Goodbye.